Young people can't get a start on the economic ladder. They can't get into a house. That has two obvious implications. It delays family formation, and it also means that those young people don't have an investment in our culture. And there's some early emerging evidence now that that's, the old saying that if you're not a socialist at 18, you've got no heart. If you're still a socialist at 30, you've got no brains. But if anything, now through their 20s and 30s, they're drifting further to the left because they don't feel invested in the system. This isn't sounding like a terribly happy story.
No, it's not. And, this is a particular problem here in the UK. People are locked out of the opportunity to live in a home that they can call their own. And of course that's going to, and we see that the average age of a house purchase, I think, is mid-30s onwards. First time you buy your own place. And there are, of course, a lot of people who don't buy their own place. They're stuck renting probably now forever because they're just never going to catch up. The average age of having the first child for a woman is going up at the same time. I'm a good example. My wife and I had our first child at 39. And it's for many of the same reasons. Because it was only when we had our own place and it took my wife a few years to settle down and to feel comfortable, then that conversation opened up. I think if we'd done that earlier, we would have had children earlier and we would have had more children. Like now that I've had the first, I'd happily bang out 5 or 6 or whatever. Not going to happen in our case, but that's kind of how I feel about it. So yeah, it's a big, big problem. And what people don't seem to understand is that, the reason this issue isn't getting solved is like the fact that we endlessly print money to indebt our children and grandchildren. The reason the housing problem isn't getting solved in this country is that too many middle-class people who are already on the housing ladder, who are invested in the price of housing always going up. And they will refuse and punish any politician who offers to solve the housing problem. Part of solving it is reducing the price of housing. There's no way around that.
We also know that vast numbers of people in the West will say my only chance of ever having a home, a roof over my head, is through inheritance. And I think that sets up unhelpful family dynamics as well.
It does. And also the parents are dying later now, so you might be in your 50s or 60s by the time that happens. Do we want a generation of people who are still sort of children? Because you're not fully an adult until you have something that you are responsible for, really. And your house, your family, those are things that really force you to mature quickly. Generation of people in their 50s who've never had that, I don't think that's a recipe for a good society.